Hello everybody, the Lawn Gnome is here.
You're not saying this?
So I'm here to talk about the movie that everybody has already talked about a month ago, and that, of course, is the new Brad Bird directorial, Disney's Tomorrowland, starring George Clooney, Hugh Laurie, and Britt Robertson. This was a movie that I really wasn't interested in seeing, especially when I saw the first teaser trailer, of course because of the fact that Disney has been milking all of its rides in regards to turning them into films, and now with Tomorrowland, it's not a ride, but it's a whole theme park. Yet, the more trailers that came out, and as little bits of the story were continuing to be told, it started to get even more intriguing. But it was also, when I found out that Brad Bird was the director, I was even more interested in seeing this movie because he has given me some of the best films, especially family-oriented, like The Incredibles, the underappreciated Ratatouille, and one of the greatest animated films of all time, The Iron Giant. When Tomorrowland finally hit theaters, had to wait a little bit, but I did finally see it. My goal was to actually see it with my fiancé, but being a teacher in her last 2 weeks of school, it's crunch time, so I ended up having to see it alone, unfortunately. It's a fun ride. I enjoyed it. It's definitely a Brad Bird film. Everybody has said a couple of things about this film, and I want to let everybody know that I get them, but there was one thing that I disagreed with in regards to a lot of the people on YouTube who have reviewed this movie. I love the way the cast worked. I thought that Hugh Laurie was great, even though I didn't think that George Clooney was the best part of this film. I mean, granted, I'm not his biggest fan either way, but he definitely did very well, especially for a family-oriented film, which he hasn't really done. Britt Robertson, I haven't seen The Longest Ride, but I really did enjoy her as Casey, and I loved Raffi Cassidy. I really think that she needs to be put into more films soon because I see so much potential in her, and I'm hoping that she will become one of the best young actresses in film in the next couple of years. The special effects are fantastic. The story is definitely a lot of fun. It reminds me of Disney films like the Tron films and the National Treasure films. Also, I love the whole concept of the conspiracies and things that were done to make this little world known as Tomorrowland. I also loved all of the little references to science fiction greats of the past like Star Wars, Star Trek, Forbidden Planet, even things that paid tribute to other Brad Bird films like The Iron Giant and The Incredibles. There were also a lot of homages to a lot of various Disney references. I have been to the Disney theme parks 3 times in my life, and to see things like Space Mountain, the song from the Carousel of Progress, It's a Small World, I really, really liked that. I also love the fact that it starts out in the greatest place in the entire world, and that's Queens, New York. Just so you know, where the World's Fair was in 1964, if you go to that area of Queens today, which is about 15 minutes away by car from my house, you actually get a lot of cool stuff. There's 2 museums, there's a great park, there's a zoo, and of course there are some excellent sporting events thanks to Arthur Ashe Stadium that hosts the US Open every year at the end of the summer, and of course Citi Field where the New York Mets play. So that's a pretty hot spot in Queens. But the one thing that I disagree with amongst the rest of the critics is the third act. I personally thought that that was the best and most important part of the movie because yes, there's a message being sent, but guys, we gotta get this message already. We can't just sit back and wait for the apocalypse to come. We have to band together as a society and a race of people to prevent this planet from dying and, more importantly, prevent the human race from dying. Hugh Laurie's character really said it best, seeing just how terrible our planet is. It's all just a matter of people still believing that we can make a difference and we can create a better world. And the funny thing is, the news has been talking a lot about people who are trying to make things bigger and better, how we're trying to tackle the obesity crisis, how we're trying to get more efficient ways of making fuel and using natural resources rather than depleting them. I feel that that third act was so important for the film, and I really felt that it wrapped the whole film together perfectly. At the end, I felt overall satisfied with this very enjoyable Disney film. I don't think that it's the best movie that I've seen all year, but is this a movie that I would see again? Well, I do want to see it again because of the fact that my fiancé unfortunately had to miss the show, and is this a movie that I would want to own on DVD? If it's up there with movies like Tron, The Mighty Ducks, and National Treasure, then yes, I do want to have this in my DVD collection. I'm very glad that I saw this movie on the big screen, and I really feel that at this point in time, in the way that we look at the world now, like the movie said, it's all about being positive, having those ideas, and wanting to fix things. So this movie gave me a lot of hope and positivity. I think that it was a very fun watch. I'm glad that I saw it, and I'm going to give Tomorrowland 3 out of 4. So thank you very much for watching. As always, please put your comments in the box below, and I will see you in the next one. Actions speak louder than words.